What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Obsession. I'm Carl Bethke.
And I'm Mike Stabit.
Mike, we got a pretty good question today from Rob. It says, how do you find big bucks? And how do you hunt them? What do you look for when trying to find a big buck? Well, I guess it's kind of... Number one, what do you consider a big buck? Everybody has their own view of that one, don't you think?
Yep.
You know? For me, I think a big buck is a 3-year-old and older.
Same. I agree.
When I first started, any buck was good.
Yep.
You know, and as I'm old, so it's progressed into certain things for me when it comes to what I think is age. You're not so young yourself. There,
well, that's right. But you know, I mean, it's a different topic, obviously, but you know, a trophy is different to everybody.
Especially with the boat.
And I think it's awesome. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
With the boat, to me.
If you're happy.
Yeah. To me.
Yeah.
You know, Carl and I, though, you know, we've kind of just decided collectively that we're not going to take deer anymore unless they're at 3.5, 4.5 and up is what we're trying to hunt. Obviously that's not always possible.
No.
Too, but how do you find them? You know, one thing I know, we can go way back. I don't know which podcast it is, but one thing we like to do is that scouting in the winter before you get all of the snow, or even maybe after you get a little bit of snow.
Right.
You really see those trails defined, you know, and watch where those deer are moving. And I'm not even saying that's a buck strategy, but it's a deer strategy.
Right.
To make sure that where you're setting up is really right. I mean, it'll really tell you a lot for stand placement, especially when everything's down and there's snow and everything's bare. You're like, hey, that was a pretty good spot for that stand. Because now you see another small trail that was off that trail.
And one thing that I can add to what Blake's talking about, and he's 100% right, but I'll tell you this for sure, big bucks make big tracks.
Yep. That's another thing I was going to do. Learn how to read a hoof print.
Yep.
One thing. And yes, doe and bucks, yeah, set their print down different in the soft ground or in the snow where you can see it in the mud. I have to go back. I'll send you the picture from Johnny, because I have a picture of his hoof print, remember?
Oh, I remember, yeah.
I knew it was him with my hands next to it. I still have it.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I know we use a lot, is it tells us, are we in the right spots? It kind of shows, you know, the faint trails up above bedding areas where they can wind is normally a buck trail.
Normally.
Or a rub line. You know, go back and see your rub lines, because it's not something you want to be doing during the season. Like, hey, look at this rub line, I'm going to walk it. You know, don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that is, you know, how we do it. Obviously, cameras.
Yeah.
Tells us a lot of what we have to hunt.
Yeah, it comes down to your capabilities. Now, the cameras are our number one tool for finding big deer is our cameras. Okay. The other thing I recommend, now I don't know if you're on private land or you're on public land. So when I was hunting public land, I would always listen to, I'm going to use this weird word, scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt.
But, you know, I'm at work and there's guys that I know are...
That's an old word.
That's a real old word, that's why I threw it out there. You know, listen to what people were talking about. A couple of the guys I knew in where I worked at the time was Kraft Oscar Meyer. Big public land hunters, hunted the same areas that I hunted. But I would listen to what they had to say. I wouldn't say a lot, but I'd listen to what they had to say. You know, like they're telling me they're seeing such and such deer, or you know, the people that land around the public land over there, Cherokee Marsh. You know, oh yeah, one of the guys I worked with actually owned land right in the middle of that. And he's like, well, yeah, there's this big 10-pointer, there's this 12-pointer, da. Well, now I know there's deer there.
Yeah.
That's half your battle.
Yeah.
Okay, now we know, okay, they're there. Now we need to figure out where we can hunt them and what times of day we can get to where we got to go to do it, right? So that's one of the ways that you can learn where there's big deer. Drive around. Check your local area. Like right now, I'll be honest with you, Mike and I pulled 5 chips from my cameras yesterday at my property. There ain't a deer on there that I would shoot buck-wise nothing on there we wanted to shoot. But I'll tell you this, by the end of the month, if I wanted to see the bucks that I'm going to be hunting this fall, I would drive about 3/4 of a mile around my property, or a mile around my property, even up to 1.5 miles or 2, and look at all the bean fields.
Yeah, they're going to be there.
Because those are the deer you're going to be hunting.
And remember, those deer are going to travel.
100%.
Going to travel.
That's
so anywhere around that
all
property,
shit.
yeah, if you see them and you have something to attract them, they're going to be there. I mean, is it a bonus if you see some? No, sure.
Well, you're going to get them crossing.
You're going to get them crossing, coming back and forth. But yeah, so anyway, camera's a huge tool.
Yep.
We scout early, late,
Year round.
often, all season. We talk a lot about this, like I said, Carl said, we're not sure what type of land you're hunting, but we like observation stands.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of times we've sat a lot of different places in August and filmed and watched, set back to see what some deer are doing.
Yep.
And see what your does are doing. Because there's going to be does on the properties now.
Oh, yeah.
If the does are there now, the does are going to be there.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So, watch their travel, watch where they're going, watch where they're bedding, where are they, feeding, where are they coming from, where are they going to.
Here's a little hint about watching the does. Like Mike said, if you watch the does and you watch your travel routes, as you're watching the does travel routes, all right, realize those does are going to go back and forth through that all year. Okay, so the rest of your hunt season, those does are going to be on those same trails doing that. Think about, if I was a buck, where would I be transition-wise to pick those does up? Like, if I got a west wind and I'm a buck and I know the does are traveling there, where am I going to be to scent check them? I'm going to be in this tree line over here, covered up where nobody can see me, and I'm going to be scenting those does to see if they're coming into estrus. That's how buck's going to move. That's how they think about things. They're not going to walk right out into the open. Now, not always. Depends on time of year. But in general, especially early seasons, and before the pre-rut gets heavy, they're going to be walking on the edges of places. They're going to be checking these does. They're going to be coming out at different times. You have to think, it's going to sound weird, you kind of got to think like a buck.
They're not bedded together.
No.
When are they bedded together? When it's that time.
Yeah.
That's when a buck is going to bed down by a doe. But, they're in their groups, so.
One that we would like to shoot.
Yes.
Depends on the age group of the animal, but yes. Yeah. You got it, exactly.
That's where we say those off trails are a good sign. Watching your doe movement. Because when you're hunting a buck, you should be hunting those does.
100%.
So, that's what they're after. That's the name of the game. And, learn. I guess one good thing is that you can always do is learn how to hunt a mature doe.
Yeah.
You can learn how to hunt a mature doe, you can have success on mature bucks. And I would challenge anybody to tell me that that's wrong.
There's people out there that will say, yeah, you can't, a mature doe isn't nearly as smart as a mature buck, and I would call BS on that.
Incorrect, yes.
They don't act like a buck because they're wired differently. It's like men and women are wired differently, bucks and does are wired differently. Does are communal group animals. Once you get past 3 years of age, except in the summer when they're in bachelor groups, bucks are solitary animals. The only time they want to be around other deer is if it's time to breed. Especially when it comes to a mature buck. And when I say mature buck, like I said, a lot of people don't consider a 3-year-old a mature buck. In our areas, a lot of our 3-year-olds can reach 150 inches easy. So, to me, if that's a 150-inch deer, I'm not going to let him walk. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
That's just how I think. I can't let a 150-inch deer walk, dude. Not going to happen. So, that's kind of what we look for. The other thing is if you have your own property, we'll throw this off for doing your own properties. If you have your own property, you can actually control deer movement or line of movement by setting up different things to help promote that deer movement that you want. Mock scrapes are big for us. You guys hear us talk about the mock scrapes all the time. And that's where we inventory our deer with our cameras too. Especially our bucks. Come September, late September, early October is when our properties get hot, and that's the way we've designed them.
Yeah.
And that's when most of our really important inventory comes, as soon as October 1st rolls
Like,
around.
we have all of our mock scrapes out now on both properties. Both of us have deer that are hitting them now a little bit, does and stuff, which is actually, thanks for dropping that on the floor there, Archer. But that's actually a good thing because they're putting scent on them.
Yeah.
It's going to stay there, but later on is when you're going to start seeing those bucks hitting them and checking them and walking around them because they've already checked them, but they're going to go buy them and check them.
Right.
So that's a big thing.
Yeah, well, the big thing there for them is that's how they communicate. That's their social structure. Bucks and does and fawns. You'll even see raccoons and all that, even play with them sometimes. Yeah. But all that is a social structure, and that's how you're basing your season. Very important. I think that for us has been the biggest tool over the last 3 to 4 years, I think, for finding the deer we want to hunt.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's the other part about things too. Now that we're older, it's a little bit different, and we've got some of our own property for us. We do now spend a lot of time hunting individual deer, which is a challenging game for us. That's kind of how it goes.
Don't think that it's fun.
No.
Because it's, the mature buck will run you into the dirt and break your heart.
Well, I remember, you think about that. There's been deer that we've chased. You and I both chased. Let's just say, for me, I'm gonna bring up eye. I'll show you guys some pictures of this deer, and I'll actually show you me putting an arrow into the deer, and I'll let you know that the story did not end up well. It's actually on somebody else's wall right now. I did kill the deer. It's just I couldn't get to where it was for the recovery, and it ended up dying on a ski slope, and somebody from the ski slope found it, and now it's up in their barn. But it was a deer that I followed for 5 years, and finally ended up under a big cold front. I got an opportunity to put an arrow in him and hit a tree limb and then hit the deer poorly. So, and then you have your own story.
Yeah, I got a few of them, but one in particular Carl remembers is we called him Johnny.
Yeah.
Big Johnny Holmes, and I hunted him. 2 years for sure. First year saw him, never really went after him too much. I actually tried to set the landowner up on him, tried to take a big deer, and then the next year I decided I'm going after him specifically. I could go back and look at my log, but I know it was over 300 hours in a stand on him. I took 17 straight days of vacation to hunt him. Carl hunted with me, filmed with me. Him and I got into a few arguments. I passed some deer up that I would never passed up before. And this was all never laying eyes on this deer.
Oh, there's a few pictures.
I had one picture of a hoof print that I was pretty sure was his. And I had a 1-3 photo burst of him going through an area where I knew he frequented. The only time I saw this deer was 2 times driving to the property. He crossed back over the road to go to the neighbors. And anyway, ended up getting the deer. That turned into a fiasco. But we have the hunt shot. Finding the deer, I think it was 3 or 4 days later when I found him. Yep. But and it wasn't even excited anymore.
No, you were
just shot. Yeah. So it's tough,
Yeah.
Hunting a single deer. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
But you're gonna learn how smart they are.
You got to be willing to eat a tag. I can tell you that.
Yeah, we've eaten a few tags.
We have. But I guess the successful story. I brought up the other one because I want everybody to understand we're no different than anybody else, and we do every now and then have something like that happen. Last year, there's a buck called Shocker. I got a very good picture of him August 27th, and that was the deer I was going to hunt. And ended up shooting him October 27th. October 27th? Yeah. So 2 months after we got the first picture of him. And after that one was done, it was like a little bit of, I was freaked out. I thought I made a bad shot. I was texting you back and forth. And, you know, ended up getting that deer too. It was a good one. But, you know, that being said, you know, chasing bucks and deciding what you're going to shoot, that's your own decision. That's what I want to tell you. Because I know you're a young hunter and you're just learning this part of things. You have to be able to make that decision for yourself. I want you to realize too, and Mike and I will both tell you this, you could shoot as many big deer as you want. Doesn't mean you're going to be somebody in the hunting industry.
Don't do it for that reason.
No, do it for yourself. Don't do it to try and prove anything to anybody. You're shooting it for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think anymore is we both obviously try to chase specific deer. We have a couple of deer, you know, at Carl's property that we hope show back up this year that we would like to go after. We have a couple of deer here that we'd specifically like to go after. And it's going to be, you know, if the opportunity presents itself, it's probably going to be the deer that we take. Yeah. You know, I know there's a deer at Carl's that I had some encounters with last year that I hunted. Probably an absolute slob this year. And I'm talking, you know, 170, probably a class buck. But I also have one here that's probably, we've seen some pictures of some already that I probably am going to shoot. Oh yeah. Probably in the 140s. You know, like, well, why would you shoot a 140 or 170? Because it's an opportunity. Yeah. And it's work that we put in. So when an opportunity like that presents itself, it's pretty hard to pass up, even though maybe I do get a shot at this other one. Maybe I don't. Maybe it goes the other way. Who knows? But don't pass something up because you think there's going to be something even better. You know. Yeah. And we can say that we've shot a lot of big deer. Yeah. You know, but we still aren't guys that are going to pass up. Most likely, 140 plus inch deer is not going to walk by us. No, it's going to get an arrow. You know, it's just not going to happen. Pope and young deer are, to me, that's how I think about it. It's hard to shoot a pope and young deer, and it's hard to do it year after year after year. Yes. We've been very fortunate, Mike and I, to be able to have these opportunities. And trust me, all our deer don't make pope and young. No. Just saying that. No. But we've been fortunate enough, we've done fairly well over the years, and hopefully that continues again this year. But we'll see how it goes. We put a lot of work and a lot of effort into it, and we'll see how things go. For you have to make your own decision. That's what I'm trying to say is don't be shooting deer to impress other people, because if you are, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Yeah, shoot what's, you know, makes you happy. Like Carl and I think we talked about this yesterday a little bit. Like, if I grab my bow, or he grabs his bow and we're in a stand, it's happening. Yeah. We both know that. Like, when we filmed for each other in the past, and he grabbed his bow, I better have that camera ready, because this is going to happen. Yeah. Like, there's no, it's a one look for us. We're like, yep. And then it's, where are we going to make this shot? When is it going to happen? Yeah. It's no longer looking at the antlers anymore for us. Pretty much goes into kill mode at that point. I don't care at that point. After that, it's like I'll worry about this when I know he's on the ground. 100%. But I know that it's an animal I want to take. Oh yeah, yeah. And there's a lot to that too. I have, in my same way, just like he stated, I do not pick my bow up unless I have total intentions of killing whatever's in front of me. Mm-hmm. That's how it's going to be. Once that machine is set in motion, it cannot be stopped. Yeah. Yeah. Then it just goes automatic. So. That's for us anyway. So if you think of it that way, don't even pick your bow up. If you think you don't want to shoot it, leave your bow hanging. Yeah, because then you don't have to worry about it. It should just be something that kind of triggers, like, yes, I'm going to shoot this deer. Yeah, 100%. You know. And then be proud of what you shot. Yes. Don't be those people where I don't want to ever see anybody. It's not my biggest. Not what I thought it was when I got up to him. Yeah, I got ground trained. Not as big as I thought it was, blah, 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 you know. Don't ever downplay the animal you take. You take in the life of something, and it's important. That's one thing, and Carl and I, we had this conversation. I know Your wife has had it with people. My wife has had it with people. Like, why do they mount all these deer? Because that's the respect that we give back to this animal. Because if you're taking this deer because you want to kill something, I don't want to talk to you.
No, you pretty much got some sort of issue.
I'm not out here to kill an animal. I don't enjoy killing animals. You know, I enjoy the sport of the hunt, and I am very grateful every time I take one. You know, it means a ton to me. That's why they are on my wall.
Yep.
You know, that's respect back to them, in my opinion, and in Carl's opinion, I know for sure too.
I agree 100%. But
They don't want to die.
no, I've never seen anything that wants to die less.
Yeah, than a whitetail.
Whitetail mule deer?
Yeah, they don't want to die.
No.
They are relentless.
They are, yeah.
And
But
they are not easy to kill.
What do they say? If there's a nuclear war, the only thing that's going to survive is whitetails and roaches?
Yeah, pretty much. That's why they're everywhere.
That's a fact. Yeah, they will find some place to hide from that. They'll survive.
And I think not. I don't think it's off topic, but I think for us, and this is probably why we're so close too. When you have that kind of respect for what you're hunting, I think it's going to make you better.
Yeah, I think it does.
You know, I'm a person too. I can't stand. I've been places where I see a deer, and people have a hat on it, or lights hanging in it, and it just pisses me off. You know.
The only thing I'll ever see or ever put on my deer, Mike, is I'll take the arrow I killed that animal with.
One back there with an arrow on it. Yeah.
That's the arrow we just found. That's the
Because
arrow
we just found the
yeah.
arrow, so I put it on. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only time I'll ever do anything like that.
And I know there's people been here before when I haven't been here, and I've said to my wife, "Oh, we should hang lights," and then she looks right at him like, "He'll kill you."
Oh yeah.
Like, you don't touch that.
Yeah.
You know, and people find this amazing. You go down my wall or Carl's wall is the same thing, and we both have a lot of mounts, and we will tell you the day where we shot that animal and everything about it.
Oh, yeah.
That to me is respect, and it doesn't matter if it's the biggest one, the smallest one on that wall. Who cares?
Yeah.
We know everything about it, and that's the cool thing about it.
Right down to my first deer.
Yep, mine's hanging right up here.
Yep.
First deer with a bow, and my first deer ever was actually with a gun. My first buck ever was actually with a gun. He actually hangs on this wall. He's about the only one with the gun that hangs on this wall. I tell you everything about it.
Oh yeah.
And it was 20 some years ago.
Yeah, that's the greatest part about it too.
Yeah.
You know, the respect for the animal is more important than most people. What really gets me is you're sitting there and listening to somebody talk about a story, and then all of a sudden you'll hear the individual, the hunter, say, "Well, the stupid thing did this." That animal is smart, smarter than you, smarter than you'll ever be, smarter than you've ever been. Because your ass can't sit out in the wild.
Yeah, you gonna live in that climate?
Never.
Year round?
Never.
Find your own food.
Almost have no food.
Yeah.
For like months.
You know, feet of snow and below zero.
Yeah.
And tell me how stupid that animal is again. You know.
Get some respect. At that point, if I ever hear that, that's when I just walk away.
Yeah, I do too. It's not worth your time.
No.
It's not worth our time.
I don't even want to talk to people like that. But, you know, like back to what we're basically finding the big bucks and stuff like that. You know, the animals. Think of a big mature whitetail as a creature of habit. They are somewhat the same on how they do things. No different than humans. You get in your car and you drive. Majority of you get in the car and drive the same road to work every day. Follow the same patterns. So think of that as a deer trail. Okay? But then all of a sudden, if somebody tried to kill you on that road, you would change the way you move stuff and get real sneaky, right?
Yeah. Change your speed, or maybe take a different road.
Yeah.
You know.
The deer will do that, and you should do that too. If all of a sudden you educate a big deer,
That's a good point. He's gonna change.
he's going to change,
For sure.
and then you should change also.
Yeah.
So imagine that. We're going to end the podcast here, Mike.
Yeah, we could go on all day.
Yeah, we can go on all day. Thanks for listening to The Obsession. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you get a chance, check us out at rss.com. You can listen to the podcast there under The Obsession. Also, you guys can subscribe and like here at Rush Outdoors, Wisconsin on our YouTube channel. We appreciate all you guys' support. If you have any questions, get a hold of us right here on YouTube. We appreciate all you guys' questions. Thanks for listening.